I am so happy to be joined in person, usually it's remote, by my Congressman Brandon Gill. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing. It's so exciting to see you right before the president gives his State of the Union address.
It's good to be here. Good to have you in Washington, too. I know we're usually in Texas when we see each other.
I don't love this weather, though.
I prefer Texas in about every single possible way to Washington.
We appreciate you making the sacrifice to come here so that someone else doesn't have to. I was just speaking with Congressman Chip Roy about the Sharia-Free America caucus that you guys are involved in, and it is just such tremendous, important work that is so necessary that Texas needs to lead on this particular issue because Texas is kind of under siege right now.
It is, and at this point, I believe we have 42 members of Congress in the Sharia-Free America caucus, so it's growing rapidly. We're adding new members every single day. You know, I was at an event just a few days ago in Texas. It was a grassroots event, and I was taking Q&A, and I would say probably 80% of the questions that I got were on Sharia and on issues with what people believe to be an Islamic invasion into the country. I mean, this is a big issue. It's not going away anytime soon, and it's our job as elected representatives to address it, and address it in a candid and straightforward way, which is to say that there are cultural incompatibilities here that we need to be aware of. I think our immigration system needs to reflect these. And I think we need to be determining who comes into our country, and we need to protect our culture.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, to the extent, too, we talk about illegal immigration all the time. We're talking about the legal immigration, perhaps, of a culture that is unassimilable. But with regard to that, there's also these, I've been doing these investigations into H-1B fraud. Yeah. And so there's a couple different layers of that, because on one aspect, it's just, should we be allowing at such a large rate for foreign workers to come in and take American jobs? But on the other hand, there's just a lot of fraud and corruption going on. I mean, my team has been uncovering so much. I'm like the meme of the guy with all of the lines on the board, like crazy, because I've just seen it and I can't unsee it. And I think that a lot of Americans are worried about the jobs that are being taken, the housing that's being taken. It's making everything less affordable for, our kids who are growing up. Where are they going to live? What is their community going to look like when they grow up? What do their schools look like? I mean, a lot of people are concerned, like, hey, my child is a white Christian male or female, and they're the minority in their schools.
Oh, yeah. I mean, immigration is the one issue that really touches everything else. It touches the quality of schools, the quality of health care, the cost of living, the cost of housing. I mean, everything. I mean, it is what composes who we are as a country. And I get questions a lot about H-1B as well. And my view has always been that the H-1B program either needs to be radically reformed or abolished outright. It was something that was originally created to say if there are niche jobs that we don't have, that we can't fill in the United States, we'll bring in a very select number of people to fill those. But it was intended to be niche, small scale, and that is not what it has become. It is metastasized. It has become rampant with fraud. And the point of immigration, whether it's H-1B or anything else, should never be to bring cheap labor into the United States. Again, you go back to first principles. The purpose of our immigration system is to service and make life better for American citizens. That's it. There's no other reason that it exists. So saying that we want to bring in millions of people every year, illegally, legally, it doesn't matter.
Right.
To fill jobs that American citizens can fill for the sole purpose of reducing working class wages, I think is grotesque. Yeah. And again, that's what this program has become. So I think, again, that's something that needs to be addressed. Mm-hmm. It needs to be either reformed or abolished outright. And to your point about culture, there are cultural issues here where you have neighborhoods and communities who are being completely transformed.
Right.
That's not what the American people asked for. No. Maybe what certain businesses have been asking for, but it's not what the people asked for.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So on the topic of legal immigration, you, of course, were under fire by the left because you wanted to put a moratorium on bringing in any more Somalians. You said, all right, it's something going horribly wrong. We need to stop it right now. What is it, 25 years?
25 years.
So I just want to know, does Ilhan Omar give you the stink eye whenever she sees you?
Usually it's much worse than that. I was giving a speech on the House floor about this bill in particular, and she was in the audience and she was screaming.
No.
I could barely hear what she was saying, but she was calling me names and all kinds of stuff.
You're kidding.
So she's not a big fan of me, I will say, to say the least.
Yeah.
But it's a 25-year moratorium is what I proposed, which I think is truly a moderate response to a severe problem.
Yeah.
This is not banning it completely, which I think would be justified, candidly.
I agree.
But a 25-year moratorium to simply say, we brought in a lot of people from all over the world. Why don't we allow them to assimilate, to come in so our culture and our society can cohere a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
And that hasn't happened for far too long. And with the Somali population in particular, and I think Minnesota is the best case study, whenever you have 78% of them who are on welfare, even after being in the United States for 10 years, that is so deeply insulting to Americans who are paying for this stuff, who are saying, we let you come into our country to enjoy the freedoms that we get to have, and yet you're making us pay for your housing and your health care and your education and everything else. I mean, that is so deeply offensive, rightfully so.
Yeah.
That I think we've got to, again, recognize what our own people are saying.
Right.
And they're saying, I don't want mass Somali immigration. That doesn't make our country stronger. This is a culture that is, in many ways, incompatible with our own.
Yeah.
Somalia has a clan-based social structure that's totally different than what we have in the United States. And that's one of the things that is, catalyzed so much fraud in Minnesota in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this goes back to let's protect our own people first. And let's make sure that America continues to be the envy of the world that everybody wants to come to. But it will not be if you allow unlimited immigration from cultures and societies that are third world and that are incompatible with our own.
You can take the pirate out of Somalia, but you can't take the Somalia out of the pirate. That's what I like to say. On that, I went to Ilhan Omar's office yesterday. Now, it was incredible because I went to many Democrats' offices and no one was there. And I'm like, oh, look, another Democrat who doesn't want to work on taxpayer time. That's great. But I did deliver her a one-way ticket back to Somalia on Mogadishu Airlines and some bananas and rice. So I hope that she takes me up on that. I hope that she takes me up on that. Representative, tell me, let's say like the midterms, this is just hypothetical because I actually am very worried about the midterms. Let's say the midterms do go well and Republicans do maintain power. What are the top 3 things you think that this party needs to focus on and really get done once we are given the ability to have, continue to have control?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is border security. It was the biggest issue of the past election cycle. And the president's done phenomenal. I mean, we've gone 9 months now without ICE or DHS releasing a single illegal alien into the interior. Border apprehensions are down to their lowest levels since, I believe, 1970. I mean, it's phenomenal what the president has done. Now, the issue with all of this is that it's not permanent yet. Yeah. And we've done some work funding in the tax bill last year to build the border wall and river barriers and things like that, which hopefully have some duration to them policy-wise. But what we really need to do is codify real border security policies into law. H.R. 2. Something that's going to outlast the president. And I think if we don't do that, that's going to be a big, in many ways, a big stain on Congress's reputation. Again, the president's done his job. It's time for us in Congress to do ours. I think the second thing, which I hope happens, it's going to have to happen before the midterm cycles. We've got to get the SAVE Act passed. I mean, this is a piece of legislation that the vast majority of Americans agree with, including a majority of Democrats, by the way.
Right.
I mean, we can't agree with Democrats on anything, and yet they agree, their voters at least agree, that voter ID makes total sense and is a common sense solution to what is obviously a problem. Whenever you bring in 20 million illegal aliens over the course of 4 years, there's a very reasonable suspicion that a lot of them are going to be voting in elections where you don't have to show ID, where all you have to do is check a box to self-determine that you're a citizen. So you have open borders mixed with unsecure elections, and I think that's why the left is so gung-ho about opposing the SAVE Act, is they know that this is sort of their political ticket to power. But we've got to recognize that and get that passed this year. And again, the goal is we passed it out of the House. The goal is to get it signed on the president's desk. So there's a lot of things the Senate could be doing there. I think the third thing I would say is we've got to focus on cost of living issues. This, again, is something that the president has done a great job of. Inflation peaked at 9% under Joe Biden.
Yeah.
We're at 2.6% now.
Incredible.
I mean, that is incredible work that the president has done. But we've got work that we need to do in Congress to codify some of his economic policies. We've got a ton of waste that we can still cut out, which does drive inflation ultimately. Excessive spending drives inflation. You got to fill that gap by printing money. We all know that. It's basic economics. So I think continuing to cut out more waste to make the economic life for Americans a lot better is the third thing we ought to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, you are doing tremendous work. You're a rock star in Congress, taking all sorts of daggers so that other people don't have to. I would be remiss. I realize, like, everyone loves you in our district, but there is an election. Everyone make sure to go vote. If you are in Texas, in our district, vote for Brandon Gill. He is, like, you got to be the best freshman there. It's not even close.
I'll let you make that call.
I just made the call. I'm making the determination. You get the award for best freshman.
We've got a phenomenal class, I'll say that. We've got a very good freshman class here.
Okay, but you're the best. I'll say it. He doesn't have to. My Congressman Brandon Gill, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Sarah.